Welcome to the official GlobalRPh YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest videos. Join us today for a summary of our latest blog article. New evidence shows a strong connection between autism spectrum and skin disorders. Atopic dermatitis, or AD, affecting up to 20% of children, has emerged as more than just a skin condition. It may also be tied to neurodevelopment. Children with AD are over twice as likely to score in the most severe range on autism diagnostic scales, like ADAS-2, highlighting a growing body of evidence linking inflammatory skin diseases and autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. This overlap, occurring against a backdrop of rising ASD prevalence, 1 in 36 children, may reflect shared immune, genetic, and environmental mechanisms. Eczema is consistently more common in children with autism spectrum disorder, 28.4% versus 15.4% in neurotypical peers, and the severity of skin disease appears to correlate with autism severity. One study found that 80% of children with severe autism had atopic conditions, compared to just 10% of neurotypical children. Conversely, severe AD significantly raises the odds of later ASD diagnosis, with an odds ratio of 2.54, particularly in children with multiple allergic comorbidities. Gender adds complexity. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is more often diagnosed in males, while atopic dermatitis tends to be more prevalent in young boys, but reverses in adulthood. Interestingly, girls with ASD may have higher rates of allergic comorbidities than boys. Several prenatal risk factors converge on both conditions. Maternal immune activation, often triggered by asthma or infection, increases fetal exposure to inflammatory cytokines like interleukin-6 and interleukin-17A, both implicated in the pathogenesis of autism spectrum disorder and atopic dermatitis. Similarly, environmental exposures such as phthalates, heavy metals, and air pollution contribute to immune dysregulation and a higher autism risk. Vitamin D deficiency is another shared factor. Low maternal vitamin D correlates with higher autism spectrum disorder and atopic dermatitis risk, possibly explaining observed seasonal patterns and increased prevalence in high-latitude urban areas. Children with both eczema and autism spectrum disorder typically have more severe autism symptoms. Higher ADAS-2 severity scores and increased likelihood of social dysfunction suggest a dose-dependent relationship. While repetitive behaviors remain unchanged, social communication appears particularly vulnerable to the inflammatory effects of atopic disease. Skin sensitivity and pruritus may further worsen behavior through sleep disruption and irritability. Immune dysregulation is central to this overlap. Elevated interleukin-4, interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-17A are found in both conditions and may contribute to inflammation in the brain and skin. The Th2 and the 17 pathways, which are key in atopic dermatitis, also play roles in autism spectrum disorder through mast cell activation and cytokine-driven neuroinflammation. Notably, interleukin-17A inhibition has shown symptom improvement in autism spectrum disorder mouse models and even in humans treated for psoriasis. Genetic variants in signal transducer and activator of transcription 6, STAT6, GATA3, and filaggrin point to shared vulnerabilities in immune signaling and skin barrier integrity. Epigenetic influences, especially prenatal exposures to endocrine disruptors or nutritional deficiencies, may alter gene expression relevant to both neural and dermatologic development. MicroRNAs like MIR146A and MIR155 are increasingly recognized as regulators of immune and neural function. Autism spectrum disorder is frequently accompanied by attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, allergic rhinitis, gastrointestinal dysfunction, and sleep disturbances, all of which may exacerbate behavioral challenges. For instance, children with both autism spectrum disorder and gastrointestinal issues often have more severe sleep problems, which can worsen irritability and inattention. Importantly, symptoms like grimacing or self-injury may actually reflect underlying medical discomfort rather than core autism spectrum disorder traits. These comorbidities add to the already high healthcare costs associated with autism spectrum disorder, nearly ninefold higher than those of neurotypical peers, underscoring the need for integrated multidisciplinary care. The emerging skin-brain axis suggests a need for early dermatologic screening in children with autism spectrum disorder and, conversely, developmental evaluation in children with severe or multiple atopic conditions. Collaboration among pediatricians, dermatologists, neurologists, and behavioral specialists is essential. Therapeutic research should now explore targeted strategies that modulate shared pathways, anti-inflammatory agents, microbiome interventions, or immune-targeted therapies, with the goal of addressing both skin and neurodevelopmental outcomes. Mounting evidence supports a strong bidirectional relationship between autism spectrum disorder and atopic dermatitis. Children with autism spectrum disorder are more likely to experience eczema, while those with severe atopic dermatitis show increased risk of being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. This connection is not simply statistical, it reflects complex biological and environmental interactions involving both the skin and brain. Central to this relationship are overlapping immune pathways. Elevated levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, particularly interleukin-4, interleukin-6, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and interleukin-17, are implicated in both neuroinflammation and skin inflammation. These cytokines disrupt neural function and skin barrier integrity, suggesting parallel inflammatory processes in both systems. Genetic factors also play a key role here. Variants in genes such as STAT6, GATA3, and FLG contribute to dysregulation of immune responses and cellular development in both conditions. These shared molecular pathways point to a common biological foundation underlying ASD and AD. Environmental exposures further reinforce the link. Maternal immune activation, exposure to environmental toxins like phthalates, and vitamin D deficiency have all been associated with increased risk for both autism spectrum disorder and atopic dermatitis. Notably, there is a dose-response relationship. Children with severe atopic dermatitis are at a markedly higher risk of autism spectrum disorder compared to those with mild or moderate forms. These findings have clear implications for clinical care. Skin discomfort may actually exacerbate behavioral symptoms in children with autism spectrum disorder, and it might go unrecognized in the absence of a dermatologic evaluation. Conversely, children with severe eczema should be screened for developmental concerns, since early identification can improve outcomes. The economic burden is considerable. Children with autism spectrum disorder already incur significantly higher healthcare costs than neurotypical peers. Undiagnosed or unmanaged skin conditions may further increase this burden by driving up healthcare utilization and affecting quality of life. Recognizing the skin-brain connection calls for integrated multidisciplinary care. Pediatricians, dermatologists, neurologists, and mental health professionals need to collaborate to develop coordinated assessment and treatment strategies. Research should now focus on targeted therapies that address shared mechanisms such as anti-inflammatory agents, microbiome-based interventions, and immunomodulatory treatments, all with the goal of managing both conditions more effectively. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. We're bringing you a dynamic mix of content across a variety of topics, so there's always something fresh, engaging, and insightful just for you.